The young man stumbled through the forest, his heart heavy with despair. Each step felt like a burden, each breath a reminder of his misfortune. Robbers had stripped him of everything. His pockets were empty, and his spirit felt just as hollow. His possessions, his dreams, his very sense of self, all gone. He felt like a shell of the person he once was, a mere shadow of his former self. He saw no light ahead, only a path shrouded in shadows. The darkness seemed to stretch endlessly, mirroring the void within him.
How could I possibly rebuild my life from nothing? He wondered aloud, his voice trembling with uncertainty.
He collapsed beneath a weathered oak, tears blurring his vision. The tree's ancient bark seemed to whisper tales of resilience, but he couldn't hear them through his sorrow. The world felt cold and uncaring. The once vibrant forest now seemed like a desolate wasteland, reflecting his inner turmoil. Doubt gnawed at him, whispering insidious thoughts of hopelessness. Days blurred into nights, and he lost track of time, consumed by his despair. The forest became his only companion, its silence mirroring his own despair. The rustling leaves and distant bird calls were the only sounds that broke the oppressive quiet. He wandered aimlessly, existing rather than living, a shadow of his former self. Each day felt like a struggle, each night a battle against his own thoughts. Then, one sun-drenched afternoon, he stumbled upon a clearing. The sudden burst of light was almost blinding, a stark contrast to the darkness he had grown accustomed to. In its center sat an old man, his eyes twinkling with an almost otherworldly wisdom. The old man's presence was calming, like a beacon of hope in the young man's stormy sea of emotions. This was no ordinary man, the young man sensed. There was something profound about him, something that promised answers to the questions that plagued his mind. This was someone who held the secrets of the universe. The young man felt a glimmer of hope, a spark that maybe, just maybe, his ordeal was leading him to something greater. The old man, sensing the young man's presence, smiled gently.
Lost, are you?
The young man hesitated, then poured out his tale of woe. He spoke of his misfortune, the injustice he had suffered, the despair that now consumed him. The old man listened patiently, his gaze never wavering. When the young man finished, the old man spoke, his voice filled with quiet strength.
Your pain is real, young one, but so is your strength. Life is a tapestry of joy and sorrow, woven together by the threads of fate. Sit with me, and I will tell you a story of loss, yes, but also of hope. A story that teaches us that even in the darkest of times, fate has a way of guiding us towards the light.
The old man began his tale.
Once, in a village nestled amidst emerald rice paddies, lived a farmer and his family. They were not wealthy, but they were content, their lives filled with the simple pleasures of the earth. Then, one monsoon season, the heavens unleashed their fury. The river that had always nourished their fields turned into a raging torrent, swallowing everything in its path. The farmer and his family watched in horror as their home, their crops, their entire livelihood was swept away by the floodwaters.
The old man paused, his eyes reflecting the farmer's anguish.
They were left with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the will to survive. With heavy hearts, the farmer and his family journeyed to the distant, bustling city. They had heard whispers of opportunity, of a place where even the poorest could build a new and prosperous life. The city was a whirlwind of activity, a stark contrast to their quiet and serene village life. Towering buildings scraped the sky, and the streets teemed with merchants, artisans, and laborers from all walks of life. The farmer's wife found work as a seamstress, her nimble fingers mending torn clothes and creating new garments. The farmer, his hands calloused from years of tilling the land, took on any odd job he could find, hauling goods, sweeping floors, anything to earn a few coins to feed his family.
The farmer's son, a bright and resourceful boy, refused to let despair cripple his family's spirit. He noticed that merchants in the marketplace often struggled to keep track of their accounts, their ledgers filled with messy scribbles.
The boy, who had always excelled in his village school, approached the merchants with a proposition. He offered to keep their books in order, his neat handwriting and sharp mind ensuring accuracy and efficiency.
Word of the boy's diligence spread through the marketplace. Soon, he was managing the accounts of multiple merchants, his earnings far exceeding what his father could make from manual labor. He invested his earnings wisely, eventually opening his own small stall, selling spices and fabrics from distant lands. The old man concluded his tale, his eyes twinkling with wisdom and a lifetime of experiences.
And so it was, he said, that the farmer's family, once devastated by loss, found prosperity and happiness in the most unexpected of places, where they least thought possible.
He reached into his pouch and retrieved a smooth, polished stone, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly light that seemed to dance in the dim room. He handed it to the young man, his hands steady and sure.
This, he said, is for you. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can blossom, just as a flower blooms in the harshest conditions.
The young man took the stone, its cool surface comforting against his palm, grounding him in the present moment. He looked up at the old man, his heart filled with a mix of awe and gratitude, emotions swirling within him.
"What is this?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper, as if afraid to break the spell of the moment.
Some call it a philosopher's stone, the old man replied with a knowing smile, his eyes twinkling with secrets of the ages. But its true power lies not in transforming lead to gold, but in transforming despair into hope, turning the darkest nights into the brightest dawns.
The old man's story resonated deep within my soul. I realized that my loss, though painful, did not have to define my future. Like the farmer and his family, I too could rise from the ashes, stronger and more resilient.
He looked at the stone in his hand, its smooth surface reflecting his own image back at him. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit had an uncanny ability to adapt, to overcome, to thrive.
The old man's words echoed in my ears. "Life is a tapestry of joy and sorrow," he had said. And in that moment, I understood. It was the interplay of light and shadow that created the rich tapestry of life. I realized that what seemed like misfortune could often be a blessing in disguise. The flood, though devastating, had forced the farmer and his family to leave their life of toil and embrace new opportunities. It was in the crucible of adversity that their true potential had been forged.
The young man looked around at the forest, no longer a symbol of his isolation, but a testament to life's resilience. Even the mightiest of trees had weathered countless storms, emerging stronger and more magnificent with each passing season.
I understood that time had a way of revealing the hidden blessings in life's journey. What seemed like an ending was often a new beginning, a chance to write a new chapter, to redefine myself, to create a future brighter than I could have ever imagined. I thought of the farmer's son, his optimism and determination shining through even in the darkest of times. I too possessed that same spark within me, that indomitable spirit that refused to be extinguished by adversity.
He realized that he didn't need a magical stone to transform his life. The true alchemist resided within him, his own courage, his resilience, his unwavering belief in his ability to create a better future.
I would honor the lessons I had learned, not by dwelling on my losses, but by embracing the opportunities that lay ahead. The forest, once a symbol of my despair, now beckoned with promise. I would leave this place not as a victim of circumstance, but as a survivor, my heart filled with gratitude for the wisdom I had received.
As the sun began its descent, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape, casting long shadows across the forest floor, creating an intricate dance of light and shadow, the young man rose to his feet, feeling the weight of the world lift off his shoulders. He felt a newfound strength coursing through his veins, a surge of energy that made him feel invincible, a sense of purpose that had been absent for far too long, now filling every fiber of his being.
I took one last look at the clearing, the place where my journey had taken a pivotal turn, at the spot where I had encountered the wise old man, whose words had ignited a spark within me and received the gift of hope, a gift that was more precious than anything I had ever known. I knew I would never forget this encounter, for it had irrevocably changed my perspective on life, for it had irrevocably changed my perspective on life, giving me a newfound appreciation for every moment.
He turned and walked towards the edge of the forest, each step filled with determination and resolve, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, a breathtaking canvas of nature's beauty. He didn't know what the future held, but he no longer feared the unknown, embracing the uncertainty with open arms. He carried within him the wisdom of the old man, whose teachings would guide him through life's challenges, the resilience of the farmer, who had shown him the power of perseverance and hard work, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of nights, when all seemed lost, the dawn would eventually break, bringing with it the promise of a new beginning and endless possibilities.